Approve the agenda.
I second it.
All right. Any discussion? Any opposition? The agenda is approved.
We're going to change the agenda now? Yeah, let's just do something totally different.
Most of you guys, in fact, I think all of us except you, Steve, we're at the Friends of Harrison Park meeting on Tuesday, and so this is kind of going to be a recap. But I will run through the things that public. By the way, Ethan is my wife, Linda Lancaster. She's usually the public that's.
She's here. See her. You can see her spirit.
So the first update that Linda was going to do was acoustic blends in the park, and Steve, I'll let you take that
Steve,
one.
yes, you.
Well, it was a record breaker for acoustic blends. Had nearly 200 people, and nearly $350 in donations. And it was awesome. And the sound guy saved the day, as you know. Yeah, it was pulled it off, and the sound was incredible.
And you were a great MC too.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You really are. I was going to say that. You really made
Yeah.
everybody laugh in between and the
Yeah,
part on
you
the
keep
mandolin,
them going
go
in
home and
between.
sell my
Yeah.
mandolin.
But I did miss that magic act.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
looking for I was looking
Yeah.
for the, and all the feedback that we've gotten, and I'm sure you guys all heard it, it was just, everybody raved about that.
Yeah.
And so, hopefully Sharon and the rest of the Gilmer Arts Board are happy enough to do it again. So we would love to get that back on.
And it was really good for us in terms of learning to have bigger events, what we need to work on. The biggest thing we need to probably work on is parking.
Yeah.
And not having so many people park in that lot there.
Yeah, we
need to
talked
basi- And so we talked about that, and then
Talked
maybe
about
having
that.
some sort of maybe a shuttle, getting like a gator or something like that, so we can transport equipment and handicap people out and keep that parking lot relatively clear in case it's emergency access or whatever.
Yeah, and when we have musicians that are showing up after the gates are closed, pretty much for musician access, we can load stuff in the
Yeah.
gator or the.
Yeah, and we talked about that. And just, I could have brought my mule, which will actually seat 6,
Right.
but
That would be very helpful. At
Yeah.
the top of everything else you hauled out.
say I started at 8 o'clock that morning.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, we appreciate all the work that you guys put in on it.
that was a roaring success, and Steve, you made that happen. You and Linda, I think, did 90% of the heavy lifting on that one.
Yeah,
So,
appreciate it. I'm real pleased and proud and happy. It was worth the effort.
Right. Because there's a lot more work.
Yeah.
Okay, movies in the park.
That's me.
That's you. Okay, you can do movies in the park.
Movies in the park, right. So we picked out the 3 movies, and that was based upon, at Friends of Harrison Park, doing listed a bunch of movies that were available, mostly PG rated movies and G rated, because we're thinking kids. And so we picked the movies out. We have the poster pretty much done for that. Another thing we're trying to do is we need to raise money. And so we'd like to raise around $2,000 for the movie. That's for the licensing of the 3 movies that were picked out, as well as any other expenses involved with publicizing in the paper, Fetch Your News, whatever. I think Fetch Your News is free, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. But Tom's Courier, we can pay for that. And I think the Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts, whatever they are, there's little scouts going around. I believe they're going to do popcorn.
They are.
They're
Yeah,
doing
talked to-
popcorn. And so we still have to raise some more money. So we have put together a whole sheet that we're going to go around. We already have somebody pledged for it. I talked to Joanne yesterday, and I think the coffee house is going to chip in some for it too.
Wonderful.
So.
We currently have one blockbuster sponsor, which is ETC, and they've Jason Smith at ETC pitched in $500 as a blockbuster sponsor, and then Todd and Ken Adamson, their company, the Mosquito Authority, is a silver screen sponsor. So So they gave us a donation of $250. So we're $750 ahead toward the 2K goal.
Yeah, I'm trying to hit Joanne up for 250 versus 100, but we'll see where that goes.
Is this a free event or a paid event?
It's free event.
Free event.
It's free to the public, and 3 movies scheduled 2 weeks apart from each other. So August 31st, September 14th, and September 28th. And the reason we did that is to keep the momentum going on that. And we also wanted to wait till it got dark early enough, because right now, we can't, especially with kids, you don't want to have to start the movie at like 9 o'clock at night.
That's when they go to bed.
Yeah, that's when they go to bed.
I
And
thought
so-
PG stood for pretty gross, so we're gonna do PG movies. I've got a couple of those that I'm willing to donate.
Are we
So-
gonna pass a hat at the,
I don't know, we haven't talked about that, but I think maybe possibly donations for the
Probably
movie.
have a donation.
Donations just for Harrison Park in general, and have that going
Yeah.
towards whatever, the general fund for Friends of Harrison Park.
Yeah, I think the general discussion was we'd have T-shirt sales, donation bucket, and then depending on what kind of refreshments we can get from Coke or Pepsi, maybe sell them for $1 a piece or something like that. Some pretty, not high price. So.
Yeah, I think so if we keep the prices of the food down,
Mhm.
but we've talked about having food carts and the things down there, and I think because of logistics with, in order to do any sort of food at the park, you have to go through the health department. So I think if we tell everyone on the poster, hey, yeah, bring your own food, blankets, chairs, et cetera. And I think that's the way to start off with. I think eventually it'd be great to get some food carts, but food carts
Yeah.
generally require minimums. They say if we don't get $700 or whatever they come up with, then we have to pay for it. And I don't think, until we know, we get some experience and how many people actually show up for it, we really don't have any idea how many are going to show up for the movie. I'm expecting around 200 people. Basically, this is a free event and it's kid-oriented and what have you. But it's a big unknown here. I know other cities do it and they're very successful, but they're bigger cities and they've been running the program for a while.
It's gonna be like acoustic blends and like the health that we won't know until we do the first one.
Right.
What kind of reception we're gonna
But I
get.
do think that we did learn about parking and acoustic blends, so that in the future, when we have events, we'll get permission from the primary school to park there. We'll have several people out there directing traffic and keeping them out of the parking lot, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think it was a good learning experience to do that for the movies or any other event. And I'll tell you, 200 people in that park doesn't look like a whole bunch of people. I'm looking at it like, you could put 5 times as many people, you put 1,000 people there and still have plenty of room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can.
That's a big park.
I still, I keep getting people asking me, when are we gonna do Terry Ellis and Jazz Festival and that kind of, people are wanting big venues there, so.
We can do it very easily, and I think that will be coming. I think that'll be next year's agenda will be to work on more music events.
Yeah.
I know Terry was very interested in doing his thing.
It's kind of like we talked about at the Friends meeting the other day, we'll start getting some successes behind us and then build on those and just, once we get that base of interest, we're good.
And a lot of it's just exposure. I mean, there are still people who don't know where Harrison Park is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think by having the movie, I think we'll bring a lot of people out who maybe don't even know where Harrison Park is. Acoustic Blends is a different audience. So
That's a winner, those acoustic blends. Thanks, Steve. I mean, I keep going back to that one. That was,
Well, I've had people tell me, man, we've been hearing about this, we wished we hadn't missed it.
yeah.
now,
There
the
you
next
are.
one,
There we
maybe
go.
twice as many people.
There you go. All right. Young lady, you want to tell us about Health It?
yes. So we had our first event, it was yoga in the park, and it was very successful. We had, I think, 28 people came to participate. Everybody liked the activity, something active in the park, so that was a good thing. Now, this Saturday from 9 to 11, we'll have VCA Animal Hospital will be there, so bring your your well, how did Linda put it, well-behaved dogs on a leash. Please bring them, they're gonna talk about heartworms for just a couple minutes, and then people are just gonna walk their dogs. So, and then August, we have Lion Spine. They're gonna come and they're gonna talk briefly about chiropractic services, and then they're gonna have organized exercises that are supposed to be helpful for your body. So that's August. Always the second Saturday. And then September, because we don't have something very active in August, I wanted to really try to have something to get people moving again. So we're either gonna have yoga again, or I have the contact info for a lady that teaches Tai Chi. So we'll see how that pans out for September.
Both of those sound great.
And then October, we were kind of iffy about whether we were gonna have one in October because we are so full with the Crooners and Cocktails and the Scarecrow Invasion, and so October is to be determined.
Applefest too.
And the 2 weeks, those second and third weeks are Applefest, and so there's too many conflicts, so we probably will skip October. And then November's to be determined. Whatever's been working the best for us, let's try to get the same thing in there again.
Good.
So the three that are firmed up are this Saturday, Lion Spine in August, and yoga or Tai Chi.
Either yoga or Tai Chi, yes. I'll contact the Tai Chi lady today and see if she's
That's neat.
available.
I was very impressed with the turnout.
Here's a
first
one of the,
Mhm.
that's not the latest version of it, but that's kind of the concept for the.
When good weather this weekend, it's supposed to rain.
I know there's like a tropical depression out in the Gulf or something. I'm supposed to be hiking in the Smokies this next coming week, so I'm feeling there's gonna be some wet hiking. Carlene's not here to talk about Crooners and Cocktails, nor is Linda, so I'll talk about it. But that is our annual big fundraiser. It's going to be at the Ferguson's Barn on October the 5th, as you guys already know. I think Carlene wants to keep the ticket prices at $100 a ticket and kind of keep it a high-end event. So, I mean, if we're building on last year's success, I think if that's any indication, I think we're going to have a good attendance and really do some good fundraising on that. So, Carlene and Cheryl and maybe Kim Adamson, are you working on that as well? The Crooners and Cocktails, and Linda are kind of putting all that together. Don't know who the music is going to be yet, and I don't think we know who the caterers are going to be yet.
Right, and all the Stay Active LJ volunteers.
Yeah. So that's our big event, Crooners and Cocktails. That's going to be interesting to see how that works.
Right, I guess we gotta get all spiffed up for that.
I don't know. Yeah, that may be a
You gotta
semi-black
you
tie.
have to come in a little bit more formal for that one.
That's what I'm
We're
saying,
roaring
man.
20s.
May have to see if I can squeeze into my tux. Okay, the LJ Elementary School Bluebird Education Program. I guess we're probably done with getting the kids over since school's out. So we had a couple iterations of that, and that was very successful.
The bluebirds the boxes are still being maintained twice a week. And we have, for many of the boxes, we're in our third group of birds. We call that brood or something.
Right.
Third.
Linda told me that Pam had gone over the other day to one of the boxes, and she knocked on the box like she usually does, and nobody answered, and so she opened the door, and three little birds would blasted out of the box.
Right.
They're all they're babies, but they're fledged and they're flying, and she
Right.
said these would zoom.
So once just information on bluebirds, once they have their broods, they'll pretty much clear out of the birdhouses, won't they?
Mm-hmm. Yes, the first brood will stay back and help the mom and dad with the second brood.
Really?
Then after that, bird brains, they don't remember to do that again, and so they don't stay after that first time that they help.
Right, so they'll be empty through the fall and then next spring.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much a
February,
springtime
March.
activity.
Right. We did have vandalism of one of the boxes. Somebody cut the tie and cleaned it out.
Box number 2, back kind of in the weeds back there.
Why do they do that stuff?
But yeah, Pam said there had been some bird eggs in there. When she went back, the zip tie had been cut and the nest was gone. So I'm not thinking that was a weasel or a snake that cut the zip tie off of it.
No, so that was very purposeful.
Yeah. So anyway,
Well, I think we should put high-end security systems down there.
I'm going to sit there with a shotgun.
I'm gonna put the cameras up and you're gonna shoot.
You could do, you know, they got these eagle cams. You can go online.
Yeah.
Maybe one day you could do a bluebird cam
There-
inside one of those bluebird box nests, and
They're very
people
popular.
could go online and watch the bluebirds.
There you go.
That's what the guy did down at the Green Meadows.
Yeah.
He had a cam that the people at the nursing home down the road
Yeah.
could watch it.
Oh, really?
Jim Bearden set that up,
Uh-huh.
sure did.
And you can probably get a very small camera that you can actually probably put inside the box.
Yeah.
It'd be up in the
That's what I
corner.
mean, you know, be inside. Yeah.
It's inside the box and you watch it. The only thing is we don't have any Wi-Fi down there at this point.
Well,
I know that's on the long-term plans,
Yeah.
is to have Wi-Fi so they can actually transmit to the system.
yeah.
That'd be cool.
I wonder if that's in the master plan. I need to call Matt Kane and make sure that we think about that we've got, you know, power available for Wi-Fi access points throughout the park.
They have now wire cameras that, you know, what's that, Arlo, or there's one camera now, it'll go for months. They're a little bigger camera, you know, that runs on a battery. You
Yeah.
don't even need to have power for it.
Yeah. So the last thing on public update, and I failed to put it on there, is the chili cook-off. The chili cook-off is scheduled for October 26th. And I think the brain trust that's working on that is Linda and Cheryl King and Kim Adamson and Ed Grant. Are you working on that?
No.
Okay. This is working out pretty well. I mean, we've now got a big enough working set of people, of Friends of Harrison Park, where instead of everybody trying to do everything, we can segment it and assign different things. And that's making me a lot happier, I can tell you.
Yeah,
So,
you guys need to.
yeah. So,
I'm working
anyway,
on my recipe.
you're working on your chili recipe?
You gonna make chili?
Mhm.
All right.
I was a winner last year at the chili.
Oh
You
my-
were?
Yes,
The
I was.
gauntlet has been thrown.
We got some competition here.
Okay.
Enter and wear my medallion, my winning medallion.
Now, do you have any?
You gotta rub our faces in it.
The chili smackdown is on.
So, who has, anyone have secret ingredients in that chili that they
You
can't?
know what I
eat?
think makes it the best? To have more than one kind of meat. Because I had beef and I had veal and sausage.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Now, it depends, there's different kinds of chili, like when in Texas, they don't put beans in their chili. It's all
Right.
meat.
Right.
Whereas,
I'm
you know,
doing
it's
Texas
one
style.
alarm, 2 alarm, 3 alarm chili there. Here, I might put lots of beans in my chili when I make
I
it.
do too, yeah.
Right.
And I make, I put different beans in too.
Beans. Do you put beans in yours?
This will be the first time, but I'm not going to. No, I already decided I wasn't going to.
He's making T-Rex chili.
'Cause I know the guy that was declared, this has been years ago, was the best chili in Georgia. He won like the Georgia prize. And it was Texas chili with 2 kinds of meat and no beans.
Ah.
That's all he'd tell me.
So
Oh,
my
he stole-
husband does all of our cooking. I don't cook at home at all. I bake bread, that's about it. But he does everything, all of our meals. And so when I won, everybody thought for sure that he made it. And I just put my name on it. So there's no way you made that. You don't even cook.
Okay, so
Okay.
maybe I'll make some chili too.
There you go.
All righty, on to old business. And the only old business that I had down on the list, and you guys, you know, anything that pops up in your head, let's do that. Grain bin bathroom design is complete. I think Michael has fulfilled everything on his contract that we asked him to do. As you guys know, the 2 guys from CPL, Matt Kane and Scott Gordon, actually took a look at that grain bin bathroom design, and they made a slight change to it so it's ADA compliant with the 2017 ADA regs. So we're ready to go. And the other thing that I find very encouraging is CPL, who, Clark Patterson Lee, who are the guys that we are asking the city to award the master plan contract to. They really like that grain bin design.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they do. Matt Cade told me that. I said, we think that's really great. We want to do that, so.
And where did that grain bin idea come from?
Wow, where
Anyone
did
know?
that, does anybody know where that?
Where did that come from?
It was me.
Stand up, take a bow, Steve.
That's right, that's right.
Well, I think
Be
it
sure
also-
get that in there, did I?
Make sure to turn the camera over here.
That's right.
So I feel like we're ahead of the game on that one, that we can actually handle the design and say, this is it.
Right, now, one thing that we talked about was he was gonna have, get a kind of a general idea of cost for this. Was that part of what he's supplying us with? I know that was something we talked about.
Well, they're gonna basically do a reasonability check on it. Linda actually went back to, I don't remember the name, it was the supplier in Marietta for the 14 gauge stainless steel fixtures.
Right.
And Linda got costs on that. The guy was very, very careful to tell her. He quoted her full retail, and he basically said, this is just for your, this is worst case, and obviously, we'll negotiate some discount on it. But the fixtures are gonna cost as much as the grain bin. So anyway, I'm hesitant to even quote a price on it. Michael was gonna go back and try to see if he couldn't get some kind of cost estimate on it.
Just, yeah.
I have no idea what it's gonna be. It's gonna be expensive for a
It's gonna be
bathroom,
expensive,
but it's gonna be, of course, as we all know, we're trying to make it as vandal-proof as we can by using stuff that it's gonna be almost impossible to tear up. So we'll go from there.
Right.
We'll see what CPL recommends that we do about that, and I'm sure that they've got their own suppliers that they use.
Sure, parts,
They can
right.
probably help us out with that.
Because Linda gave me a copy of, the fixtures that were in there, and I did some research, the price that she had on there, and then versus what I went online and found some, probably for, 30–40% less.
Mhm.
Same stuff,
Mhm.
but it's good to shoot on the high side when you're doing an estimate, and then go down from there.
Well, yeah, and we're gonna need that. And it kind of comes back into the grant pursuit thing. So, you guys have all heard me say 1,000 times, in fact, you heard me say it Tuesday, that I had 5 major objectives for Harrison Park right now: bathroom, stage, and
Master plan.
master plan. Yeah, so anyway, the master plan has become the overarching thing, because the city council, I think rightfully, really wants to understand what we're talking about in terms of infrastructure. And we've all talked about that too, that we don't want to get too far ahead of our headlights and figure out, well, we shouldn't run a water line there, we should run a 220 line here, or something like that. But I think it's pretty well baked where the bathroom's going to go. The CPO guys have been doing some preliminary work on that. So they're excited. Scott Gordon told me, he said that was one of the cool things that made us want to do the project. That, you guys have already done a lot of stuff and done a lot of thinking. It's not like brand new things that we're going to have to reinvent.
Right, so I know we did the charrette, and I know people felt like we didn't really get enough deliverables from them, but I think for the whole concept, I think we got a good deal out of it.
The charrette got us where we needed to be. It got people engaged.
Got engaged, and we had a general feel and look and everything else.
Yeah.
And so I think it was beneficial, even though we didn't get as much of the detail as we thought we were going to get, but
Yeah.
it saved us a lot of money when we actually got a real plan with the details.
And we'll move on to the master plan here in a minute, because that's new business. But one of the second item in old business, and I don't know when and how we're going to get this done, but we probably need to, talk to the mayor and talk to city council and just go ahead and get a work party out there. And I mean, we could even do it with shovels, I guess. I don't guess we'd have to have a machine to do it, but get that little gravel strip where we can go from the parking lot straight into the track without walking through some wet grass. Steve, you still have your,
Mhm.
and, I mean, that'd be a 5-minute job, wouldn't it, with Michelle?
Yeah, I mean, it might be the bucket that I have, I don't know why I did that, but it doesn't have teeth,
Mhm.
which makes it easier to do what we want to do if you have the teeth, because it'll dig in and kind of
Mhm.
pull up stuff, but it'd be good to do it when it's as wet as possible, so
Okay.
the ground's not concrete hard.
Yeah. Let me talk to Al. I mean, the city's got one of those too, right?
I don't know.
Bobcat.
They've got a tractor, there might be a tractor with a backhoe on it. They might have a backhoe for that tractor. I don't know if they do, I know, that's what they use to mow, it's a brand new tractor.
Because we don't have to take down a lot, we don't have to dig a hole. Just-
No.
We have to go down probably, what, about 6 inches or whatever
I
that
don't
fiber
know how-
grid is.
The GeoWeb,
The GeoWeb,
I
right?
think it's
That's
more-
probably about
yeah,
like,
you'd have to go that far at least,
so
yeah.
a foot.
Okay.
And then, whatever, and a few inches to top it off too.
Right, so you put probably layer gravel.
So about a foot deep. The problem is that when you got that grass, it's hard for that bucket to be able to dig into that grass
Okay.
and start. I mean, I don't know. It might just do it with no problem, but it might be a problem. I don't know.
All right. Let me,
In which case, we get pickaxe and shovels. We could all put on orange suits.
we can do that. You're right, we're gonna have to go down, I hadn't thought about that, but we're gonna have to go down far enough to set the GeoWeb.
Right, and
The
then you
GeoWeb
could use the bucket to clean it up.
Yeah.
Once we get it all broke up, then we can come in with the bucket if it won't
Scoop
do
it all
it.
out.
Okay.
There's a lot of places on the trail where that's it's exposed a good bit.
It is.
So I'm wondering if it's gonna get a little dangerous.
It is, not only is the GeoWebs out there, but also it looks like there's some bent rebar, some U-shaped
Yes.
rebars that are actually the anchors.
Yeah.
And there's a
bends it
couple
down.
of those that are exposed, that if you're running, you're gonna do a face plant into the gravel. So we probably, let me see what I can do, talking to the mayor and the Councilman Fuller, and see if we can't just get a work day where we've got some city equipment out there.
Yeah, that'd be best. I mean, I don't mind doing it, but
Well,
yes, it's an unknown.
yeah, it is, and I hadn't thought about having to plant the GeoWeb. That's gonna take like a backhoe.
Yeah, that would be the easiest.
Yeah, and we wouldn't want to do it without the GeoWeb really, because we want to keep it stable.
Yeah, right.
Okay. All right, Mike will take
And
that.
drive tanks across it too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we could take some up to Morganton to the tank place. Okay, new business. Linda and I met with the mayor and Councilman Westmoreland and Councilman Fuller on Monday morning to basically talk about where we were going with the master plan. And prior to that, I'd taken 6 of the copies that you printed for us and brought them over here to Amy, and Amy gave every city councilman a copy of the master plan, the CPO proposal, and the mayor one as well. And my understanding, at least from the 2 city councilmen I talked to, that they were very pleased with the plan and also the price, because I mean, basically when compared to the Dix Height bid of 116K, and then I guess it was not CPO, CSC. The other one was 40,000 or something.
42 or whatever,
Yeah.
so.
So anyway, CPL came in at $25,000. It was even 25, including travel and everything. Linda had a conversation with Scott Gordon, who's one of the principals at CPL, and one of the questions she'd asked was, how did they come up with their bid price? And basically Scott said, well, we want the business, so we're willing to make you a deal
That's
on
what we
it.
figured.
It's a deal.
Yeah.
So that's probably close to a $15,000 discount off what I
Yeah.
think they would
Yeah.
go and
Basically
charge.
what you're saying just made me think, it may be that they want to do this grain bin bathroom, so they can say, and they can market that
I
going
think,
forward.
I think they do, Steve. I think they're looking at this. I mean, they have a 26-acre clean sheet of paper except for the track and the barn, you know, and basically, I think they know we're willing to give them pretty much free rein within some fairly wide constraints. And I think it's got their neurons firing as to what they can do with it. So it's really going to be a good deal. They're excited about doing it. Linda and I have talked to them, and they're pumped about it. So we talked to the mayor and the city councilman about the financing of it, and for what we ended up in principle agreeing to try to do, and it's still elastic at this point, that the Friends of Harrison Park will put up a third of the money, the city will put up a third of the money, and we'll raise the other third from private donations. And so the Friends already has the money. The city, the mayor says the city can probably get the money from their SPLOST funds. I've already approached the Harrison Foundation, specifically Jason Smith at ETC, about trying to acquire the remaining third from the Harrison Foundation. Jason told me that was a very propitious time to bring that up because the foundation is having a meeting on June 31st, or excuse me, July 31st is their quarterly board meeting. So he asked me for a PDF copy of the master plan, and also he asked for a fairly comprehensive sheet of the history of Friends and what have you done and what are the future plans, and because he wants to present that to the Harrison Foundation board on the 31st. So, you know, I don't know, we'll probably get some money. I don't know that we'll get all of it, but we'll get, they'll probably make a substantial contribution toward it. And then whatever we need left, we'll fundraise. We'll either do it through Crooners and Cocktails on the 5th of October, or we'll just go shake the can like we've been doing for other things. CPL has agreed to let us split the $25,000 payment over 2 years. So we'll probably do half of it in 2019 and half of it in 2020.
That's great that they're willing to work that way.
Well, you know, it was interesting because I was talking to them, and they said, well, that's not a bad idea because, you know, what we can do is we can kind of manage our income over 2 tax years. So, you know, it's, you know, now we've got 12 and a half and 12 and a half, and it, you know, we can use that in our accounting stuff. But they were, so basically, you're right, they're willing to finance part of it for us by deferring the payment into
That
next
helps
year.
us so much.
Yeah. So Mac Kane told Linda yesterday that he would put something in writing and send it to us. I went and told the mayor that yesterday, and so consequently, a vote on that is scheduled this coming Monday. So Al said he would put it on the agenda to go ahead and seek approval for that. So I think we'll probably get the master plan done, either this meeting or the August meeting for sure. Things are moving.
So would that mean the city could budget for this year and next year, and they'd only have to pay 4,000 and some change this year, 4,000 and change next year?
It's good for the city too.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, so what we do is the Friends of Harrison Park, we go ahead and throw in 8K or, you know, whatever a full share is, and the city would put in enough to make it hit the 50% clip, and then next year it'd be the city and the funds that we get from ETC or whoever our benefactors are.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So I'm very confident that we've almost got the master plan sealed and delivered.
Wow. Good job.
It's a lot of work to get to that point.
Yeah. Okay, work days. Too hot to do anything until October, I guess, right? Is that kind of the plan?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, who wants to go out there now?
Yeah, I'm
Well,
with
you can't, yeah, if
It's
you're
hard
gonna
enough just to
spray.
go out and sprinkle stuff for ants.
I know it. So I guess probably October's gonna be a busy month in the park.
Probably,
So
yeah.
November too. November's a good month too.
I was gonna say, we're probably looking early November, you know, things will settle down from all the
Right.
fall
November's
festivals.
actually really nice.
Do maybe 2 work days out there, some more whatever Dr. Steve here says we need to do is what we'll go do. Make it look pretty.
I
It
just,
does, excuse me for interrupting, but
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of comments from people walking the park when we're out there. The results of the couple of work days that we've already done, I've had people comment on. They can go down to the river and it's cleared out and it's nice and it's cool and they can put down a blankie and snooze, as long as it's not on a hit bed.
it'd be good to rent a small excavator, tracked excavator, that we could just cut off those big privets and lift them up out of there.
Along the creek,
The ones that are on the banks, steep
the
banks.
banks. Yeah,
I mean,
now, you
one
know
day
more about
rail
this than I
wouldn't
do,
be
but I
much.
talked to someone about that, and they said if you take out the privet along the banks, that you need to put something else to stabilize them.
Well, yeah,
They
you will,
suggested
right.
putting willow in, you can just put stalks in, I don't know, that was just
Yeah.
what I heard.
All right, here's the story on that.
The scoop?
Here's the scoop. Actually, there's a better shrub, tree, small tree. It's called, actually, it's silky dogwood. And Auburn did some research and they found that silky dogwood puts down more of a massive root than actually willow does.
Okay,
Other reason we don't like to use willow on our projects, because we use these, they're called live stakes. And we use them on all our projects, is that willow will grow real fast and then it starts breaking up and it doesn't live long. You know, I mean, in terms of our lifetime, yeah, maybe like, but in 20 years or 15 years, it'll start they'll start breaking up and
Kinda like pear
then they
trees.
get real ugly.
kinda like pear trees, that they're real soft and they
Right,
break.
right. So, but the silky dogwood's a shrub, and a real pretty shrub, and it's a real good for butterflies and birds. The seeds, birds like them, and butterflies love the flowers. It's not like the flowering dogwood; they're not showy like that. So that's easily. I mean, I had a guy out here on the river. Got my name. I went and looked at his project and I said, look, why don't you just come to my house? I've got silky dogwoods on the creek right at the bridge. And I need to trim them back because they start getting over onto the bridge. So he came out and I helped him cut about 100 live stakes in about an hour. And he texted me the other day. He said, man, these live stakes are taking off and they're awesome. So he was real pleased. So yeah, they work really well. And they're right. We've always talked about doing that. What we've done so far, we haven't needed to do that. But as we start staking those off the banks, we can put it down low enough to where it won't be as tall, for the most part, as what the banks are high. And that's where you want it anyway, is down low.
Right. Just
On
kind
the toe of the bank.
find that soil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so people can actually see the river, because a lot of places you still can't really see the river.
Right.
It's still, the privet's still there.
Yeah. Then they're big ones. So, at one day rental, and they may cut us a break over here. We just have to ask. Wouldn't be, but
At the tool rental place,
yeah, I don't know. I never rent one for a day. Probably. Oh gosh.
a couple hundred for the day.
Yeah, probably 200, 300 maybe.
Right.
How do you plant them, Steve? Is it like a?
Oh, you just push them into the ground.
Is it- okay,
They're
it's
3
not-
foot long.
Oh, it's not a
about that.
root?
No,
Not a root?
no, you just cut off sticks,
Okay,
2 to 3 foot long sticks, and you stick them in the ground,
okay,
and they root. I mean, they'll root in a matter of just a couple of weeks.
okay.
They'll start putting out roots.
No EPD issues with?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
No, and I assume that they're native species.
Yeah,
That was kind of an assumption.
yeah.
Well, good, we need to ask the city council if they'll let us do that, but I don't think they'd object us going out. and-
Yeah, and if we cut them, if somebody says something like, we're not disturbing the soil, we're cutting it off,
Right.
treating the stump,
Right.
and just lifting it up out of there.
Right,
Right.
not doing topo
So
change on.
everything's fine as long as we don't disturb soil.
Okay,
Right, and then we would need to get the chipper down there and take all the privet up.
Mhm.
And the thing is, it's so easy now to pull, because it's all cleared to the river.
Right.
It's so easy to pull pull out now. Before, we had that jungle down there.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, literally, I'm hearing 2 work days so far. One of them to try to get the GeoWeb set and to the path in. And the second one is kind of the traditional stuff that we've done before,
Mhm.
which is clean up. So that'd probably be worthwhile, is to do 2 November work days.
And one other thing I think we put on the work list is just kind of clear out some of that barn. There's just a lot of junk in there that can be cleared out. Because I don't think, you know, some people will work by the river, but you can only have so many people doing that. It's gonna be a limited number of people. But if there's a lot more people down there, the barn cleaning can be done maybe.
We need to do that, and we'd have to get in there anyway to get the GeoWeb.
You know what? If we're gonna have a little excavator out there for the privet, we could go ahead and, it would take 20 minutes to dig out for the GeoWeb.
Yeah.
So maybe we could have a
Yeah.
crew
Yeah.
doing the GeoWeb. You first do that, and then let that crew go ahead and install the GeoWeb and the gravel.
Yeah.
And you have a tool cat that we could use the bucket on that
Yeah.
for the gravel. And then we go on over and start doing the privet.
We might be able to get Simmons Grading or somebody to donate the gravel for us. They may be willing to do that.
It would, even if they had paid for it, it's a very nominal cost.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I would think that the city could, that's
Yeah.
part of the maintenance of the park, I think.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, we're not, actually, you're talking such a small amount. It could be that we could go ahead and dress up those bare spots.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're talking, you know, I mean, the trucks, those tandem trucks that's 16 tons, is what they haul. And we're probably talking maybe 2 or 3 tons to do what we're wanting to do. So if we got a full load, you can get like a half a load, 8, 9 tons, but that's all you need, and then use the rest to dress up the places that are bare.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the current price of a spreader truck is. I got 17 tons, whatever, and I had the spreader on it, and the spreader can just drive around and it's spread very easily.
You know, they couldn't do it out there though, because they can't spread that small, narrow spot. Yeah, I mean, they're like, unless they barely spread it, you know, and then you use up a whole lot because they're going so slow. But you could just use it with a bucket, with a tool cat, and some guys with some rakes, shovels,
doing that.
smooth it out.
But we've talked about the trail down there, of putting something, a finer mesh in there so that it's easier to walk on. It's still hard to walk on that trail down there.
Yeah,
And getting more, what's it called? I keep my forgetting the name. It's like a powder or granite.
it's base.
Yeah.
I call it the ground aggregate base.
And then putting that around the whole park.
I mean, that's what they did out there at the memorial.
Right.
And it is like, it sets up like concrete when we tried it on our driveway, and it does work good, except it washes where it's a slope, because it's so fine. And,
But there's really no slope out there. It's pretty flat.
no, so yeah, so since it's flat, you shouldn't have that problem.
Once it dries out, it dries, probably like a,
Yeah.
you know,
Helps especially
Smooth
with people
concrete.
walking on it all the time, it kind of
Keeps it
compacts it.
compacted, right.
Well, guys, that's all I have on the agenda. Does anybody, Sue, do you have anything?
I do have one thing. I met with Leslie Thomas over at the Tabor House, and she gave me some really good leads on some possible grants.
Good.
But one of the things she said, I said, what about, how do we get the historic designation for the barn? And she said, the owner has to request it. So I guess
So
that
that would
Harrison-
probably be, well, Harrison Foundation is still the legal owner.
Mhm. They have to request that it be designated historical site.
I'll send Jason a note on that. Does she think we can get it on the barn?
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Really?
I mean, it's not very strict, just as long as it's 50 years old. So we would all qualify.
Speak for yourself.
I'm not sure, I'm not sure that would be an honor, but.
I don't know about either, though.
I think we all need a little historic preservation.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That is interesting, because that would probably open up some.
That's what
some-
she said, yeah.
Some real
Yeah.
opportunities for us, maybe from DNR as well.
Yeah, I have a
mentioned-
list of about probably at least 10 places. The more she talked, the more she remembered.
Yeah.
And
So I know her, so I didn't know that she had a background in that.
she loves that stuff.
Really?
Yeah, she really is into the historical stuff. So.
Oh, she's an incredible resource.
Mhm.
She's
Had no
very
idea.
knowledgeable.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have a whole page of notes from my little bit of time with her, so it should be a great help.
Good, that's good to hear. Rick, you got anything?
Nope.
Steve?
No?
All right. Anybody want to make a motion that we adjourn?
Steve?
So moved.
We're
Second
adjourned. We're adjourned. Next meeting.
In less than an hour.
Yeah,
Yeah, good job.
next meeting
That's
is
because Linda's not here.
Tuesday,
See ya.
August 15th. Well, you,
No, with the public.
Yeah, public.